Hello guys, very good morning. Welcome to the another session of DevOps. So any new joiners today? Okay. If anyone has joined newly today, please drop a message in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and you can mention that. Okay, fine. So yesterday we have discussed about what is cloud computing and what is the requirement of cloud computing in today's world and how AWS is providing the cloud computing service for today's companies. Okay, that's what we have discussed yesterday. So let's wait for 1 minute and see if anyone is joining and we can continue after that. If you have any queries, you can ask. Okay, so let's continue. So yesterday we were discussing what is cloud computing, okay, and what is the need of it. So for example, you're going to set up a software company, okay, you're going to set up a software development company, and what you guys will be needing is physical infrastructure, right? We need infrastructure means we need servers, we need network equipment, and we need to set up that. We need operating systems, applications, antiviruses. All those things are required, right, to set up a software development company, right? But these things will come, these all these things, this infrastructure will come at a certain cost, right? In order to buy high-end configuration servers, we need to spend a very good amount of money, right? In the same way, we also need high-end operating systems, right? We need OSs to maintain our servers, to run our servers, and also we need antiviruses and anti-malware softwares. All those things comes into the picture when we are talking about setting up the physical infrastructure. Okay, apart from the high-end operating systems, high-end antiviruses, all those things, we also need what? We need manpower, right? We need manpower to maintain all those high-end infrastructure. Okay, we need to pay them good salaries, we need to maintain them, and if anyone is on leave, we need to hire a backup person as well. Okay, so all those things comes into the picture when we are talking about physical infrastructure, because these things, without setting up all these things, we can't develop a product in our company, right? Also we need to maintain some standards. All those things comes into the picture when we are talking about physical infrastructure. Okay, apart from this, obviously the electricity, high electricity cost, we need to pay for the air conditioning. All those things will be there itself only, right? To overcome all these things, okay, instead of paying this much amount, these huge amounts, companies are migrating their software development approach in cloud service. Okay, they're using cloud computing uh, as the infrastructure to host their applications and develop the products. Okay, so so we have discussed yesterday what is the use of cloud computing and how it is helping us. Okay, so let's see that slide once again, and we can continue from where we have stopped yesterday. Okay, so these were the drawbacks of physical infrastructure setup. Okay, we need to buy expensive infrastructure and set it up, and based on the traffic we have to based on the traffic we may have to expand our infrastructure setup. For this I will give you an example. Okay, we have Christmas in 2 3 days, right? Okay, so on December 25th we have Christmas. Okay, in and 23 and 24 will be a huge traffic will be there for e-commerce websites. People will be buying the Santa Claus dresses, the stars, all those things will be purchased in a heavy manner, right? So there will be huge traffic on the e-commerce websites. So what the e-commerce websites will be doing, they will be expanding their servers. Okay, they'll add few more servers to maintain to reach the traffic what they are getting, right? But in infrastructure, like if it is physical infrastructure, to launch new servers, it will be a tedious task, right? I'll show you. See, this is a server. Okay, this is a server and which we have a e-commerce website. A lot of traffic is coming in normal days, right? But on Christmas, okay, on 23rd and 24th, people will be buying more. Okay, so we need what? We need additional of one or two servers. Okay, we need additional of one or two servers. So buying a server, setting up it, installing operating system, antiviruses, and all those things, and my integrating our application in this, all those things will be not will be we can't complete it within 1 or 2 days, right? We can't complete it within 1 or 2 days. So it's a tedious task. Okay, and what will happen? The traffic which is coming, this particular server, this first server, our main server will be unable to handle that traffic. Okay, obviously what will happen, our website will be very low, very slow, and people who are visiting our website, they will be disappointed with the experience. So will they visit our website once again? They might visit, but obviously they will have a bad experience, right? So in order to overcome these kind of scenarios, we have something called scalable, concept called scalable. Okay, so what is happening is that whenever we are expecting a huge traffic to come, okay, we'll be setting up our servers in such a way that okay, on 23rd and 24th we need additional two servers. Automatically, when the date starts, when the date starts, 23 date starts at the midnight, right? Immediately two more servers will be launched. Okay, and once 25th is there, like Christmas, after Christmas, obviously we don't need these servers because there will be as usual traffic, right? There will be no new traffic, right? So additional, obviously, like once 25th is completed, these two services will be terminated automatically. Okay, these two additional servers which we have launched for festival season, these will be terminated automatically. Okay, so this concept is called scalable concept, which is present in cloud computing and which can't be achieved with physical infrastructure. Okay, this is what making companies to understand that cloud computing is much more advanced and easier to adapt when compared to physical infrastructure, and that is what making them to migrate towards cloud computing. Okay, so we'll discuss this scalable concept in more detail once that particular concept, once the particular slide comes, we'll discuss that about in detail. Okay, fine. So hiring of qualified person, yeah, obviously, like when we are maintaining physical infrastructure, we need to hire very qualified persons, because a small mistake can do a lot of damage, right? So we need to hire the right qualified person to maintain our infrastructure. Any technical issues and troubleshooting may affect our timeline. As I told you, if any technical issues comes, okay, if our website is down, in order to troubleshoot that, in order to bring that back online, it may take much more time when compared to cloud computing. So these are some of the advantages of cloud computing. Why companies are moving towards cloud computing? Okay, less expenditure. Yes, when compared to physical infrastructure, we have to spend very less expenditure while we are setting up our infrastructure in cloud computing. Okay, less manpower. Obviously, whatever we are hiring for physical infrastructure, when compared to that, we will be hiring very much less manpower in our cloud service. Okay, cheaper in cost. Whatever we are spending huge amount of crores of amount in buying these physical servers, right? Instead of that, we can just spend very much less amount when we are hosting our application in cloud service. Reliable. AWS or whatever service the companies are using, they provide a reliable solution. Okay, if they are promising, AWS is promising that 99% of your data will be safe. Okay, 99% of your data will be safe and it will be not lost if you have taken a backup. Okay, latest technology. All the cloud service providers are maintaining latest technology. All the operating systems, all the services, all are latest technology, and they are up to the mark with the trends which are going in the technology world. Okay, similarly support various environments. If you want to launch a server in Linux environment, fine, you can go ahead and launch a Linux server within 1 or 2 minutes. Similarly, if you want to launch a Windows server, Windows 2019 server, you can launch it within 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, advanced features, all the advanced features with respect to, if you want to work on IoT, Internet of Things, if you want to work on machine learning or data science, all those services are included in cloud platform. Okay, cloud services. So these are some of the uh, providers who are available in the market currently. These are some of the like popular cloud providers available in the market. So I have taken this picture. These are like mostly used in the market currently now, and AWS, Amazon Web Services, GCP from Google, Microsoft Azure from Microsoft, IBM is providing as well, and DigitalOcean as well. And these are some other cloud providers. Okay. Also, Dell has also introduced their cloud service as well. They call it as Dell Cloud. Okay. Even Oracle is having its own cloud platform. We call it as OCP, Oracle Cloud Platform. Okay. So this is AWS stats actually. This was taken from Statista website in the year 2019 for the third quarter. Okay, in the third quarter of 2019, AWS was topping the charts with 39% of the market share. Okay, when compared to others, see the others one, it is having only 21%. In all the other providers are included as one group. Even then, AWS is topping them with approximately 19%. Okay, so that's how AWS is dominating the cloud market in the real world, and a lot of people, a lot of young engineers are interested in learning AWS. Okay, so why I'm telling you all these things is, if you are going to choose AWS as your cloud platform for learning DevOps, it will be a very good choice. Okay, so these are the some of the certifications available in AWS for various certifications are available. So if you are planning to become a DevOps engineer, okay, if you're planning to become a DevOps engineer, this is your path. You have to first complete your cloud practitioner, then you can go with the SysOps administrator, then you can go with DevOps certification. Okay, or if you have a developing background, okay, you are very good with programming and all, so you can go like this as well. Okay, first you have to complete your cloud practitioner, then developer certification, then you can go with DevOps engineer certification. So this is the path. Okay, and obviously, like if you're interested in some other certifications, you can go ahead as well, like this and this one. Okay, for security, networking, big data, all these options are available. Fine. So this is what we have discussed until this slide yesterday. Now we'll discuss some more slides, and we'll move into the EC2 service part. Okay. So AWS has something called data centers. Okay, data centers. So these are like a very huge what do you call it, as a very huge place where a cluster of data centers, which means that a lot of servers are integrated and joined together and placed in these AC rooms, which has temperature of minus, okay, which will be like minus 0 degree, like it will be like below 0 degrees. So a lot of data centers are combined and integrated together in these data centers, and where they will be hosting their all their servers. Okay, all those servers are hosted there, placed there. Okay, so usually these data centers are placed in such a way that there is a uninterrupted power supply and uninterrupted power supply and uninterrupted electricity. I mean power supply, as well as the weather conditions are matching the data centers. Okay, usually they place it near to ocean, I mean near to sea, or near to river or something, because water is very much needed to cool down those servers and all, like, because to run all those air conditions and all, water is very much important. Okay, so what is happening inside the data centers, what is going on inside these data centers? So something like this will be present in the data centers. uh, uh, Huge number of servers are combined together, joined together, and they will be placed here, and where we'll be taking these servers remotely, and we'll be hosting and we'll be working on our applications. Okay, so a lot of like number of servers will be combined together, joined together, where we'll be taking the servers remotely. Okay, how these data centers from one city to another city are joined together? Okay, so that is the question we have. So the answer is, there will be a sea link. Okay, there will be sea link, which will be uh, this highly built cable is laid down under the sea, and through which the internet is like the connectivity is passing on. Okay, so a sea link is laid, and this is what is connecting the different data centers of all the cloud providers. So fine. So in this picture we have AWS regions. Okay, AWS regions. So AWS regions, what is AWS regions? We need to understand this word first. Okay, so um, AWS regions are nothing but separate geographic areas. Okay, separate geographic areas that AWS uses to house its infrastructure. Okay, so you can see Mumbai, Bahrain, Milan, Cape Town, right? All these places, these cloud centers, okay, these data centers are uh, they have created and they have placed it there. Okay, so what is happening there means they have placed their infrastructure in these places, and through which we'll be connecting our servers. Okay, so these regions are nothing but these regions are distributed around the world. Okay, so that customers like us and companies will be choosing a region closest to them. Okay, choosing the region closest to them in order to host their cloud infrastructure. Okay, for example, you are a person who are going to launch a company in Bangalore. Okay, so you will be choosing a region which is closest to Bangalore. So what is the closest region to Bangalore is Mumbai. Okay, Mumbai data center is the closest one. So you'll be choosing the Mumbai region. Okay, there is no rule that you have to select Mumbai only, but the reason is that, see, I'll give you a small example. Uh, you are at a place A and you have to go to B. And here at C, one of your friend is waiting. So going like this is very easy, right? And it is this shortest path. But if you go and you pick your friend, if you go to B, it will be the longest path, right? So in the same way, what is happening is that if you if you are in Bangalore, you will be choosing Mumbai, right? So the network frequency, whenever you're trying to connect to your server, the network will be very much easy to connect to Mumbai servers when compared to other regions in the world. Okay, when you're trying to connect to Ohio servers or in North Virginia servers, it will take a little bit amount, like a fraction, like 2-3 seconds will be delayed, and that 2-3 seconds will be like it will create a matter of fact for the customers who are trying to visit your website or application. Okay, that's why it is suggested and it is advised to select the region which is closest to you. Okay, so for we are since we are in India, we'll be choosing Mumbai as the region for hosting our applications. So any doubts until now? Okay, so here we are seeing as Mumbai. Okay, we are seeing Mumbai as the region, which means that AWS has already distributed the physical infrastructure.
Yeah, this is Gnaneshwar.
Yeah, Graneshwar, tell me.
Yeah, it's a huge, like you were saying that it's a cluster whose data will be saved the data centers. Like
Hmm.
if we choose, like for example, we are in India, so
Hmm.
near to our means Mumbai is there, so we'll choose the
Hmm.
Mumbai. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
if anything happen like natural calamities, like earthquakes,
Hmm.
so if
Hmm.
anything happen, so
Okay.
how they will save the data, like do we have any alternate option? Same thing will be saved in any other data clusters.
So see this slide actually once. See what is this reliable world? Okay. So this reliable word, okay, they're saying that AWS is promising that they are going to give the data, 99% of data whenever we are working on it. Okay. So they're promising it. That's why they're charging us. Okay. AWS is charging us for that only. So if anything happens, for example, you have hosted your uh, da- okay, you have hosted your application in the Mumbai region. Okay, and something
Yeah,
happens, some natural calamity like a cyclone or something happens in Mumbai, and that data center is affected. Okay, it's affected due to that natural calamity. So
right.
that's none of your problem actually. AWS is promising that it will provide your data, and they will be taking care where that data is where they are taking that backup and where they are storing it. Okay.
Okay. So like for
In
example, like I will
uh,
tell one example. Like
okay.
uh, there is a lifestyle. They will save the child. So, what we call that. So one place, and they will have one more center. Same thing they
Yes.
will
Yes.
save. So if anything
Correct.
happen, like they will bring that from other center.
Yes.
So there is
Yes.
the alternate option. So is there
We
any
have
like
Yeah, we have something called vault. Okay, vault. Do you know vault, right? Bank vaults where they store money and all those jewelry and bonds and all. In the same way,
Yeah.
AWS and cloud providers also they have vaults. Okay, they take backups in tapes actually. They take backups in magnetic tapes. They send that tapes to the that vaults. Okay, no company will reveal where these vaults are present because that's a their business secret, right? They don't want to reveal all those details. So
Yes.
they'll
Yes.
store all those huge amount of data, TBs of data, in these magnetic tapes, and they will send that tapes to that vault. Okay, and
Okay.
whenever
Okay.
anything happens, whenever we need backup and all, we can request them. They will bring back that magnetic tape. They'll give us our data back, and again they will send that again they will send that magnetic tape back to the vault. Okay, so these are
Okay.
like their business secrets. They will not reveal because of security reasons. They can't reveal all those details to us. Okay, where it is, where that vault is present. I- they might say it is in Mumbai, but it can be in Pune as well. Okay, because nobody can
Okay.
believe that, right? Yeah. In the same way,
Yes.
here AWS region is saying that they have hosted their infrastructure in Mumbai. It will be not in Mumbai. It may be near to Mumbai somewhere. Okay, we can't tell that where exactly the place it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because of security reasons, they will not reveal all those details. Right?
Okay.
In the same, like if you see, it is your company secret. You are working on something. Will you reveal or will you reveal it on online? Because no, right? Because
Yeah.
that
Yes.
is your business secret. You can't reveal it online, right? So this is how
Yes.
AWS, not only AWS, any cloud provider will be working like this only. Okay. So you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about data loss. If anything happens, any natural calamity happens, that is AWS responsibility that they give your data back.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
So basically what I'm trying to say is AWS has divided and distributed their setup, their physical infrastructure setup in 24 regions in the world. 24 regions. See, this is an old pic. Okay, the image which you are seeing in this slide, which this is a very old pic, and currently uh, in this website, this is the official website of Amazon Web Services. In this they are saying that they have 24 regions across the world. The orange colored dots are the new places. Okay, the new places which are going to come very in the near future. Okay, so these orange places are coming in the future, and these blue color dots are existing regions. Okay, so very recently, Telangana government has tie up with the Amazon Web Services to set up this second region in India. Okay, second region in India, and once this second region will be ready, India will be having two regions. One is Mumbai and one is Hyderabad. Okay, one is Mumbai and one is Hyderabad. So this is a very good initiative by AWS that they're taking India as one of the regions. Okay, and when Hyderabad is also set up, it will be coming around mid of 2022. Okay, in the second quarter of 22, they're saying that the second region will be ready. And whenever the companies are going to, for example, people who are working from who want to work on AWS, okay, who want to learn AWS and who want to work on AWS, they want to host their applications. If they are from South India, they can select Hyderabad as the region because that will be near to them. And people who are working from North, okay, like Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, and Gujarat, Ahmedabad, all those things, all those cities, they can select Mumbai as the region because that will be near to them. Okay, not in any other way. But what I'm trying to say is like the network latency, the network delay will be very much less when they are trying to connect to these regions. Okay, so AWS is investing around 21,000 crores in Telangana, Hyderabad to set up the second region in Hyderabad. Okay, so this is what the introduction part of AWS, how cloud computing works, and what AWS is doing, what AWS is providing to us. Okay, so is it clear now? Shall we proceed with the first service? Okay, so I'll take that as a yes. And before that, I want to
Hello.
mention that yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, sir. This is Ashish. Actually, today is my first batch, and I'm quite confused about DevOps, AWS, and that Azure part. So, is it possible you explain in meanwhile?
Okay. Hi, Ashish. First of all, hi and very good morning. See,
Very good
you
morning,
don't
sir.
have to worry like very good. You don't have to worry like what is going on. Just continue with the flow. What is going on as of now? See,
Mhm.
I'm going to take a backup for the new people who are joining on the 25th. Okay, on 25th of this month. Okay, which means that
Okay.
in another like 2 or 3 days. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
since people are joining, right? Like just it's been like just 2 days. So I'm going to take a backup of what I have taught, what I have completed as of now, the
Mm-hmm.
introduction part of DevOps, the introduction part of AWS for you guys again on 25th. Okay,
Okay, fine.
so you don't worry, or like I'm not going to skip any part. What I have taught to other people, I'm going to teach you as well. Just bear for 1 or 2 days. Okay,
Sure, sure.
okay, thank you. So any other doubts, guys? Can we proceed further? Okay, sorry,
Yes,
I
please.
was going to mention that. Yeah, I was going to mention that since you are in India, you will be selecting Mumbai as the region. Okay, what if the server you want to launch? What if the server you want to launch is not present in Mumbai? So what will you guys will be doing next? You will be waiting for the next available region, next nearest region other than Mumbai. So since Hyderabad is not yet ready now, you will be going with Singapore or Bahrain. Okay, you will be selecting Singapore or Bahrain. Okay, so this will happen only in the case when there is a server which you want and that is not available with AWS. Okay, see, AWS starts some of the services. Okay, we'll discuss what is services and all. Okay, AWS, whatever they start something new, they will start with US first. They will implement with US first, then they will slowly they will roll on all the updates to the rest of the world. Okay, so if you're not able to see that new service in Mumbai, you may have to go with the other region. There is no rule that you have to select Mumbai only. We can select other regions as well when we are hosting our applications, but the only case is that that but when you're trying to launch that server, when you're trying to connect to that server, there will be a little bit of network latency. There will be a little bit of network delay. Okay, so once Mumbai is not available, the whatever service you're trying to opt, whatever service you're trying to work on, it is not available in Mumbai, then you can go with Singapore or Bahrain. Okay, and with after like 2022 we'll be getting two regions, right? Hyderabad and Mumbai, then we can select Hyderabad as well. Okay, so that's what I wanted to mention that. So people from Sri Lanka, people from Bangladesh, people from any other cities like any other countries like Myanmar, Bhutan, or Pakistan as well, they can select Mumbai or they can select Bahrain. Okay, so that's the closest to them, right? Sri Lanka can select Singapore as well. Fine, so that's what about the AWS regions. We need to discuss about availability zones as well. We discussed that. So there is something called availability zones in AWS regions. Okay, I mean in AWS, these AWS regions have been divided further into availability zones. What is availability zones? See, I'll explain with the diagram. So this is Mumbai region. Okay, this is Mumbai region. They have a lot of servers inside this region. Okay, Mumbai. Now this region has been further divided into three parts. Okay, three parts. These are virtually divided. Okay, inside all the servers are connected, they will be connected together only, but they are virtually divided. So availability zone 1, availability zone 2, availability zone 3. Okay, so okay, so what AWS is saying that, okay, these availability zones are nothing but isolated locations within the data center regions. Okay, these availability zones are, or the AZ. Okay, we can in short we can call it as AZ. Okay, these availability zones are isolated locations within the data center region. Okay, in Mumbai region, three availability zones, availability zone 1, 2 and 3 zones are created so that customers can host their services in three different availability zones, which means that you have a website, you are running a e-commerce website. Okay, you can host one server in availability zone 1, one server in availability zone 2 and one server in availability zone 3. So whenever the traffic is coming, whenever people are trying to buy something from your website, they will be connecting to server 1, server 2, and server 3 as well. So what is the use of availability zone? If by chance, because of any technical issues, availability zone is down, okay, this particular zone is down, people can still access your website using the servers which are present in zone 2 and zone 3. Got my point, what I'm trying to say? By chance, because of any technical issues from AWS end, availability zone 1 is down, people can still access your e-commerce website with the help of servers which are present in availability zone 2 and availability zone 3. Got it? So that is the use of availability zones, and we'll discuss further once the EC2 service starts. Okay. So got it right. What is availability zone? What is regions? How many regions are present? As of now, 24 regions are there. Okay. You can if you want further details, you can go to the official website. You can see all these details in the AWS website. 24 regions are there. 77 availability zones are present. 5 local zones and 9 wavelength zones. Okay. All these details are present in the AWS official website. Fine. So let's proceed further. So guys, this completes our theory part for the AWS introduction. Okay, this completes the theory part of the AWS introduction. This was the last slide. So why am I giving you all this introduction means in order to understand a concept. Okay, since you are going to work on EC2, we need something theory. Okay, theoretical is very much important when we are going to work on practicals, right? So if you guys can just confirm that everything is fine until now, we can proceed with the service, EC2 service.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, okay. So let's first see how to create the AWS account. It's a very easy method, nothing technically important. Okay, nothing technically tough. So just go to your browser, open your Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, whatever the browser you're using, and just type AWS console. Okay, just type AWS console, and the first link, whatever the first URL comes, just open that. Okay. Okay, so this will something you will get it something like this. Okay, and you can just what you can do, you can create a new account. I just logged out, right? So I'm just checking. Just click on sign in to console. It will be asking for the username and password. Okay, see, if you have an account, fine, you can go ahead, give your credentials and you can log in. But if you don't have, click on create a new AWS account. Create a new AWS account. You have to click on this button. Okay, very simple, like the same way how you create a Gmail account or a Facebook account, the same way you have to give your email address, password, you have to confirm that, and what name you want to see in the AWS account name. Okay, so whatever name you want to give, you can give it here. Click on continue. Okay, once you click on continue, it will ask for few more details. One is your mobile number, one is your address, and the credit card or debit card details. Okay, credit card or debit card details. So fine. So what will happen next is, once you give your mobile number, you will get a 4-digit pin. Okay, you need to enter that 4-digit pin just to confirm that that mobile number is working, and you need to give your debit card details as well. So don't worry that it will charge amount or something. It will just take 2 rupees, 2 rupees of your amount, and that too just to confirm that that debit card is working. Okay, debit card is working, and that 2 rupees will also be refunded within 2 days. Okay, that 2 rupees will be also refunded within 2 days. So you can, if you have a debit card, fine, or else you can use any one of your family or your friends. Okay, so be ready with your AWS account by tomorrow. if not tomorrow, at least by day after tomorrow, just be ready so that we can launch our servers in both Linux and Windows, and we can start working with EC2 service. Okay, so if you have any queries, you can just Google it, how to create a AWS account. There are like multiple videos in YouTube as well, how to create a AWS account. Okay, so why we are creating a AWS account means AWS is providing 12 months of free tier access. Okay, 12 months of free tier access, which means that complete 1 year we can use AWS for free with limited restrictions. Okay, AWS is giving us free tier account with limited restrictions. Okay, but whereas companies will be not giving, they will be not given free tier account because they are using it for commercial purpose, right? Since they are hosting their application, they will be not given free tier account. They have to compulsory pay and they can launch their servers. But since we are students, okay, we are learning something from AWS, right? So for as to grow, as to expand their market, okay, as more people want, as AWS wants more people to come into AWS and learn something from AWS, they are giving this free tier account. Okay, so be ready with AWS account by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and we can start our practicals as well. Okay, so let me log in once so that we can, let me show you what is present in AWS first. So once you log in, this is what you will able to see. Okay, so we have something called services. Okay, if you click on this, on the left hand side on the top, there is something called services. We have 175 services as on today. Okay, 175 services as on today provided by AWS. Okay, so each service is having its own usage. Okay, own usage. So each service is created by AWS for a unique purpose. Okay, we can host our application on EC2. We can maintain our databases. You can use IoT, Internet of Things, okay, services as well. And if you're a person who is working on machine learning, you can select machine learning related services. Also, there is some services related to data science. All those things are present here. And whatever the service you want to use, you can select from this particular option. Okay, see this, all those things you can also create Android apps as well. All those things are present here. Okay, so to learn all the 175 services, okay, whatever the services which are present here, to learn all these 175 services, it's not an easy task. Okay, not say that it's impossible, but it's not that easy. Okay, that is why Amazon Web Services, it's a separate course provided by the institutes. So that's why I'll be not able to complete, if I keep on teaching all these services, it will be never be completed, like, okay, because we are concentrating on DevOps here. So the AWS is a separate course. That's the reason, because of all these services. Okay, so if you guys are interested in AWS certification, then like they will teach you this major of the, there are like selected 50 plus services are there. They'll teach you all those services and you can complete your certification. So think about it. If you guys are interested, then you can go ahead as well. Okay, and so why the reason I'm showing you this, that we are going to learn EC2. Okay, the first one. In the compute section, we are going to select EC2 service. We are going to learn this particular service. Okay, this service is the most, what do you call that, most widely used service. Okay, most widely used service, and in this service only we'll be able to launch our servers. Okay, so I'm selecting this, click on this EC2. Just a heads up, okay, yesterday you guys might be thinking we are in the DevOps class and why we are learning AWS and all. Okay, see, our our plan is to learn DevOps, and most of the DevOps tools will be on Linux. And in order to learn Linux, we need something Linux servers. Okay, we need some Linux servers. In order to launch Linux servers, we are using AWS. Okay, I'll repeat that. We are learning DevOps here, and most of the DevOps tools are in Linux. So in order to launch Linux servers, we are using AWS. Got it? Fine. So this is the home page of EC2 service, EC2 service. So first thing, so little theory part, then we can go ahead. So we are going to cover all these things, introduction, all these are the index. We are going to cover all these topics in EC2. Okay. So fine. So EC2. So EC2. So EC2 means the abbreviation of the EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, a lot of people confuse with that, and a lot of people pronounce it as Elastic Cloud Compute. Okay, so it's not the other way, it's actually Elastic Compute Cloud. So make a note of it and don't like pronounce it in the wrong way. Elastic Cloud Compute, don't say it like, don't say that, it's actually Elastic Compute Cloud. So first we'll understand why this name has been given for this particular service. Okay, so we'll break this into three parts. First word, Elastic Compute Cloud. So we'll understand each word, and then we'll be able to understand. So first, cloud. Okay, what is cloud here? The cloud is nothing but it's a cloud service, right? It's a cloud service where we are able to launch our servers in a cloud platform, and we'll be able to connect to them from a remote service. Okay, if it is a Windows server, we'll be using RDP service to connect to them, and if it is a Linux server, we'll be using SSH protocol to connect to the Linux servers. Okay, so cloud here means it's a cloud service. That's why it is being called cloud. Next one is what? Compute. Compute. So what is compute here? What is compute here? So by this we can launch n number of servers according to our requirement. Okay, so compute means we can launch n number of servers according to our requirement. Okay, that too with any kind of predefined configuration. For example, if you want a server with 1 GB of hard disk, okay, 1 GB of hard disk, 1 GB of RAM, and 1 CPU core, you can launch it. If you want 1,000 servers with the same configuration, yeah, you can launch with AWS. You can launch 1,000 servers with the same configuration, that too in 1 minute. In 1 minute, you can in 1 minute you can launch n number of servers with the predefined configuration. Whatever the configuration AWS has, there are like sets. Okay, AWS is providing configuration already. They have designed some configurations. You can select that. Okay, then finally Elastic. Pardon me for any spelling mistakes. Okay, fine. So Elastic. So Elastic means what? Elastic means elasticity. Elasticity, which means that we can modify the configuration of the server. If for example today you have launched a server with 1 GB of RAM and 10 GB of hard disk space, and tomorrow after like 1 month or 2 months, you understood that this configuration is not enough for our application. We need a little bit more configuration, and we need to add that. Okay, so AWS is providing that option to expand our configuration. Okay, after 1 month we can modify this, and we can make it as 2 GB RAM and 20 GB hard disk. Okay, obviously like CPU will be also there, CPU cores. We can select CPU cores as well, 2 CPU cores, 10 CPU cores, whatever it is. Okay, so AWS is providing this option to change our configuration after a while. So that this particular option of changing the configuration is called elasticity here. Okay, so that's the reason we can modify the configuration. We can launch n number of servers, and it is the cloud service. That's the reason they have given this name, Elastic Compute Cloud, in short EC2. Got it, guys? Fine. So I'll give you one more example. For example, you have your laptop. this is your laptop, and you have 4 GB of RAM. Now you want to play one GTA 5 or something, you want to play some game. Okay, now 4 GB is not enough. Okay, so just can you expand your RAM without opening your laptop, without opening your back panel of laptop? Can you expand your RAM actually? No, right? It's impossible. In the same way, uh, in the same way, if you have a pen drive, okay, if you have a pen drive, you have plugged it. You have 4 GB of pen drive. You have plugged it in the this particular computer. Now this pen drive is not enough for whatever the file you want to copy. Now you want 8 GB of pen drive. Now what you will do, you will remove this pen drive. You will buy a new pen drive with 8 GB configuration and you will plug it in. Right? That's simple. But whatever the configuration which is present inside the computer, we can't modify it, right? Right? But just imagine you have a physical server. Just imagine this in a big scenario. You have a physical server in your company, and that particular server is having so and so configuration, like 4 GB of RAM and 10 GB of hard disk space. Now you want to expand this configuration because your application is not being handled by this by this particular server. So is it possible that that easy to expand the configuration of a server? No, right? You have to shut down, you have to raise a ticket, incident ticket. The engineer has to come, they have to open that panel, they have to install that RAM. All those things comes into the picture, and that is a very tedious task. That is a very tough task. It will take like 1 or 2 days of time. Again, we need to we need to observe whether it's working fine or not. All those things comes into the picture, and that's what makes difficult. But when we compare this with cloud, okay, we can modify the configuration within 1 minute. We can move from this configuration to this configuration within 1 minute. Okay, that's the advantage we have when we are using cloud actually. Okay, so fine. So I think that explains what is elasticity and why how it is useful for us in the real time. Okay, so fine. So let's go back to slides. Okay, so whatever
Hello.
I have explained in the diagram, yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I have a query. Like in a EC2, you just said we have elasticity to increase or decrease the hardware capability, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
not hardware
in
actually,
the
configuration.
yeah,
Mhm.
in a
Go ahead, go ahead.
configuration. But in terms of a physical machine, some of the time we face issue like the system or the server is not good condition. It's not working
Mm,
properly because it's
yeah,
running from a long. So some of the time it will create issues, right? So
yes, correct.
in any such kind of things are happen with this,
Okay, see, AWS is spending crores of money. Okay, they're spending a huge amount of
right?
dollars. Okay, they are buying the servers from their trusted partners, whether it's IBM, whether it's Dell, or whatever the company is, we don't know. But they are buying those
AWS
servers.
vendor.
They are, yeah, okay, they are buying the servers from their partners and they are maintaining it. Okay, so it's not our headache that what happens with those servers. Our only question is that whether our application, whether our data is safe or not. Okay, see, for example, you have brought a laptop. You have brought a laptop in 2020, and whatever the configuration you have now, 8 GB of RAM, 1 TB of hard disk, will that be enough in the year 2025? No, right?
Not
The
really.
question is that this configuration, will that match your need, will that match your requirements in the year 2025? No, right? So it has to be upgraded. You have to either add a RAM and you have to add a hard disk. Okay, so the same goes with these servers as well. So AWS is taking that headache. Okay, it is handling that headache and they are going to plan how it can be done. Okay, our only goal is to work, we should have our own servers and our data should be safe. Okay, that's the reason we are spending amount Okay, that's the reason companies are spending a very good amount every month, or whatever the plan they are using. If it is a quarterly or half yearly or annually, whatever the plans they have opted for, they are paying a very good amount to AWS for this only. Okay, because AWS is taking care of all these things, this hardware configuration. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir.
Is that did that clear your doubt?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like,
fine.
where is the
Huh.
security for our data? The thing is, so like our application data. So what are the transactions will be obtained? For example, if
Uh-huh.
we take
Huh.
HDFC Bank, if they opt this
Hmm.
servers, okay.
Okay.
So there is a
Yeah.
huge data will be there, which is very secure. So
Yeah.
like, how can we assure that are they providing security? Like, if anything like data will be lost, so what are the
Hmm.
security data there if it is lost?
Okay.
So
Okay.
if it
So
hacked, thing, so
okay,
how
got
they
it.
will
Got it.
provide a security?
For example, you are running a bank website. Okay, you are a person who is running a bank website on AWS. Okay, now let's assume that you want security, right? Security in the sense two ways. One is from hackers, right? From hacking, and one is from data loss. The data should be not lost, right? Data loss. Now, AWS is providing some services through which we can prevent both the things. Okay, we can implement software security techniques like VPC. Okay, VPC is a virtual private cloud. Okay, this is a service in AWS using which we can prevent, we can add extra layer of security for our applications. In the same way, data loss, if we take backup, we have an option to take backup of our data. If you feel that your data is very much important to you, you need to take a backup. Okay, you need to take a backup, and AWS is giving us the guarantee. Okay, 99%. If your data is lost, they will pay you in return for whatever the loss you have occurred. Okay,
Okay.
did
So like,
did that clear it out? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The thing is, like, so we, uh, we are working on new technology, which is now nowhere used till now. So just we have implemented in our application.
Hmm. Okay.
So we would like to opt to AWS. So this type of like data, we don't want to disclose to anyone. But
Okay.
if you want to opt to this server, so how
Okay.
things will happen here?
Okay. See, AWS, they will not read your data. Okay, whatever the data you have, for example, you are creating something innovative. Okay, it's not yet revealed to the world. Okay, and you don't want to disclose that also. Okay, it's very confidential, but AWS doesn't want to look into your data. They will store that data in a encrypted format in the magnetic tapes. We have something called magnetic tapes. I'll show you an example. Okay. uh, this comes in the storage part. Okay, if you have heard about anything called IBM Tivoli or something, magnetic tapes. Okay, so these magnetic tapes looks like our traditional VCR tapes. Okay, VCR, I hope you know what is VCR. In early 2000s we used to play that tapes, right? So it looks like this. These tapes are very much sophisticated, like they store a very good amount of data, and the data will be stored for years, not like our traditional pen drives and what do you call this, CDs and all. Okay, the data will be very much secured in these tapes, and they will stored in a encrypted format, so that if this tape is lost, okay, nobody will be able to decrypt as well. Okay, they will be not able to decrypt as well. Okay, so your question, I am working on a something new technology, and I don't want to disclose the data to the world, right? So AWS will be taking the backup in a encrypted format, and they will be storing it. Okay, so even the people who are working in AWS, they will be unable to read that. Okay, did that clear your doubt?
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so any other doubts, guys?
What
Okay,
are the
fine.
questions? Are they valid? Or like
Sorry, are they?
the thing is, what are the doubts I'm asking? Are they valid
Uh-huh.
or like?
Yeah. Don't worry about that. See, I have listened to much more what do you call that? Silly doubts. Okay, much more silly doubts. But
Okay.
whatever you are asking, at least they are making some sense. So don't worry about that. So that are like valid questions. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that is what like until whatever we have discussed now, it is all about EC2 introduction part, guys. So EC2 is providing us the option to launch servers. Okay, see, one thing, guys, what if I'm using the word computer, server, PC, machine, box, laptop, instance? Okay, if I'm using these words here, whatever the word I'm using, it just means that our server. Okay, our server. Okay, so here AWS has given a new name called instance. Okay, instance, see this here, launch instance. Here instance means server. Okay, they're using this word called instance to call servers. Okay, so if I'm using word computer, server, PC, machine, box, laptop, whatever, it's nothing but our instance. Okay, so remember that in our future classes. And so AWS EC2 is providing the option to launch servers within 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, and we can modify the configuration as well. That's the flexibility. The flexibility is there with the EC2 service. So that's it for today, guys, and we will discuss tomorrow about the Linux in operating system, how Linux, what was the history of Linux, and we will launch a Linux instance and a Windows instance tomorrow, and we'll try to understand the basics of Linux. Okay, so this is how our path is going on, and once a little bit of Linux is introduced, we will see the further concepts of AWS EC2 instance. Okay, we'll see what is error checks, what is accidental termination, load balancing, auto scaling, and some other concepts as well. Okay, so any doubts you guys have, you can ask me right now. No doubts, guys. Shall we conclude? So yeah, Ashish, right? Ashish. So don't worry about what has happened today. I'll take a backup for you guys. Okay, people who have joined today. This is if this is your first class, just remind me on 25th. Okay, 25th means like on Christmas Day. Okay, we'll take an extra class on 25th. We'll take an extra class on 25th, and we'll complete what I have discussed until like last 2 days from 21. What I have discussed, we'll complete that on 25th. And Chandana, what you have texted? Okay, we'll be taking some. Okay, so yeah, I'll take the basics of shell scripting, Chandana. I'll be not going into the deeper, because since some of the audience, some of the students who are like coming from a like what do you call that, freshers background, like they'll be not able to understand the scripting part very much well. So I'll take, but not in the like to the expert level. I'll take to the basic level of scripting. And also, instead of shell scripting, Chandana, I suggest you to learn Python. Okay, since a lot of I'm seeing a lot of companies are hiring engineers with Python scripting background. So I suggest you, if you can, and if you are interested, please join Python course as well. So that will help you to learn Python scripting, and it will be like very much easier when compared to shell scripting. When you're trying to script something, okay, when you're trying to automate by using a script or something, Python will be much better option when compared to shell. That's my opinion only. I'm not suggesting to join or something. Okay, which topics your cursor? Please provide the list. Okay, so Mastan, I have covered just the introduction part of AW, what do you call that, DevOps. Okay, so let me open this slide. Okay, so I have covered this presentation, Mastan. Nothing, what is DevOps and how it is useful in the software development life cycle, what a DevOps engineer does in day to day, what are the daily activities of a DevOps engineer. All those details have been discussed from past 1 or 2 days. Okay, so if you feel that like you if you have joined today only, this is your first class, then don't worry. I'm going to take a class on 25th. Okay, 25th or 26th. I'll inform you in advance. So just what I will do is like I'm going to uh, create a WhatsApp group. Okay, I'm going to create a WhatsApp group. All your people's, like all your students' numbers will be added there, and I'll be also there. And just that group will be for like our class updates. Okay, if there is any additional class on weekend or something. Okay, so what I will do is like I'll try to plan something for like I'll look my calendar first, and if my calendar is free, I'll try to schedule a class on 25th or 26th. Okay, and in that class I will cover whatever I have taught on 21st and 22nd of this DevOps class. Okay, so don't worry, Mastan and as well as Ashish, right? So I'll be taking a backup class for you guys. And if anyone has missed, and if anyone wants to join once again, you guys are welcome. So any other doubts, guys? Shall we conclude? Shall we conclude, guys? Please confirm.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. Bye.